It's it's a nonprofit organization that has been here for about 20 years. And our mission is to provide, mission is to prevent injuries and fatalities through life-saving education, leadership, and advocacy. Um, Basically, we're here to teach children how to be safe. And our target audience is children between 5 and 11 years of age. And we do it through field trips to the village and also via outreach to the schools in our community, and in the near future through our website, which it's getting a major overhaul. But we're happy here. We're happy to have all of you here to present such a deserving award to a young woman, Yulia, with the Safe Kids, the Jin Young Award this morning. Before we get things rolling, I'd like to take a moment to recognize and thank all of the dignitaries that are joining us today. And with that, Major Gary Brun of City of Windermere, and Deputy Chief Jennifer Treadwell of the Windermere Police Department. Thank you so much for your presence, and let me just recognize. At this time, I would like to welcome Danielle Campbell from the Orlando Police Department, and also the chairperson of the Safe Kids Coalition. Danielle?
Thank you, Ramon. Good morning.
Good morning.
On behalf of Safe Kids Orange County, we're so glad that you could join us today. Safe Kids Orange County is a local coalition for Safe Kids USA, a nationwide network of organizations working to prevent unintentional childhood injury, the leading cause of death and disability for children ages 1 to 14. We educate families, provide safety devices to families in need, and advocate for better laws to help keep children safe, healthy, and out of the emergency room. We are housed here at the Children's Safety Village of Central Florida Incorporated, our lead organization. While we cover a wide range of topics, we focus primarily on child passenger safety in and around vehicles, wheeled sports safety, including bicycle and helmet safety, pedestrian safety, home safety, and water safety. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the award we'll be presenting this morning. Jim Young, who the award is named after, was one of our Safe Kids Coalition members that left us far too soon. Jim was an amazing man who dedicated his life to helping others. He worked at the American Red Cross and spent years serving the community. We established this award after his untimely passing as a way to commemorate his memory and continue to allow his legacy to live on through the actions of others that make a difference in the lives of their fellow citizens. It is truly an honor for us to present this award today. Now I would like to call up Ms. Mary Hayes, who is the Orange County Safe Kids Coalition member that brought this young woman's actions to our attention.
Thank you. In the early morning of October 27th, 2015, Mr. Sterling Folk left his Windermere home on his usual jog, which took him down Lake Butler Boulevard, where he collapsed. At 7 a.m., Mrs. Julia Strube, 17, came out of her home ready to go to school when she saw her grandfather, Mr. Don Strube, directing traffic around a man lying in the road. Mr. Strube wanted to be certain that none of the vehicles passing would run him over. Ms. Strube immediately noticed that the man was in medical distress and did not have a pulse. She called 911 and began resuscitative efforts to save his life. The 911 dispatcher gave CPR instructions to Ms. Strube. The Ocoee Fire Department and the Windermere police officer, Ellie Rodriguez, arrived on the scene, and the paramedics took over with advanced medical aid. This unknown man was then transported to the hospital, where while at the scene, an Ocoee paramedic advised that the police chief, Dave Ogren, that Mr. Folk would not be alive without the fast action of Ms. Strube and the assistance of others. When he did not return home from his run, Mrs. Debbie Folk went out to look for her husband. At the same time, Mr. Rodriguez canvassed the town when he came upon Mrs. Folk. Without hesitation, Officer Rodriguez drove her to the hospital to be with Mr. Folk. By the time Mrs. Folk arrived at the hospital, her husband had already had a heart catheter and a new heart stent. Mr. Folk spent 12 days at Health Central with 8 of those days on life support, followed by 2 weeks of rehabilitation. Mr. Folk's doctor calls him the Miracle Man, and thanks to Ms. Strube for her quick action of using skills she learned in the 10th grade as a student on the sports medical team at Olympia High School. Today, Mr. Folk is well and happy and can be seen jogging through Windermere. Chief Ogden describes Julia as a hero. She acted calm and collected during this crisis. Miss Julia Strube of Windermere is a most worthy recipient for the Safe Kids Jim Young Award. Thankful friends from Windermere submitted this application. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Sterling Folk to come up to be recognized and share some thoughts, if you would.
I will.
Okay. When you're finished, I'm going to step in.
Good morning, everybody. You know, Marvel comic books, book heroes such as Superman and Mr. America have been a part of our lives for many years. First as real life saviors of life in our childhood, in our child minds. And then as we grew older, they were just a mere fiction character. Well, you know, I stand here today before you, a renewed believer in superheroes, at least one in particular, and that is Julia Strube. She is my Wonder Woman. As attested by many, including my cardiologist, I am alive today standing here before you due to Julia's unwavering, unhesitating commitment to saving my life until paramedics could arrive. Julia, you are in my eyes and in my family's a real live superhero, well deserving of the Jim Young Award. You have others who recognize your superhero status also. Mary Hayes, Officer Treadwell, as well as the Orlando Safe Kids Coalition, who selected you as their annual recipient of this award. Also your loving family, who have had a major influence in the development of your life with your super attributes. Also, your act of heroism may save other lives in Central Florida. Upon hearing how you saved my life, a department head at a major theme park in Orlando has initiated efforts that all in her group receive life-saving training as you did. All because of what you did. And in addition, if that's not enough, this act has renewed one of my friends' faith in the youth generation and their faith in God. Julia, I and my family want to thank you for being my superhero of life.
Thank you, Mr. Folk. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing in this presentation with us. Good morning. My name is Carissa Johns. I work for the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and I am actually the coalition coordinator here for Safe Kids at the Children's Safety Village. Jim Young was a dear friend of mine. He was just a fantastic, amazing man, and we were so blessed to have him as part of our coalition for the years that we did. It's my pleasure to share with you a few words from his family today. Unfortunately, they weren't able to join us. What they sent along was, "We are so thankful for the award given in Dad's memory. A teenager doing CPR and saving a life would make him so proud. He spent his life teaching CPR and first aid, and he loved working with teenagers. His memory lives on every day by the stories we hear still. We send our congratulations and heartfelt prayers for both the award recipient and the life that she saved." At this time, I would like to invite our Safe Kids Orange County officers to the podium. Ms. Danielle Campbell, our chairperson, Ms. Tina Wallace, our co-chairperson, and Mr. Mark Van Hella, our secretary.
Julia, your actions on October 27, 2015 are truly heroic. You're Wonder Woman. We are so touched by your story, and as Jim's family said, we know that you embody everything that this award represents. We couldn't be more pleased to be presenting this to you today. Can you come forward so we can give you your award? You're welcome. Oh, where are we looking? Too many people looking. We're not professional photographers.
Take a picture of you.
Yes. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'd like to ask Miss Mary Hayes, Mr. and Mrs. Folk, I'm sorry, Julia, you have to come back up. Deputy Chief Treadwell, Mayor Bruin, and to join us for some photos, if you don't mind. We could actually hold Jim's picture.
Yeah, we can hold it.
Perfect, thank you.
Ramon, you guys asked us to take a picture.
Facebook or website, town
All
website.
right.
Oh, we're gonna have to scrunch in, I guess.
Scrunching.
All right, I'm gonna ask you all, look over here,
Yeah.
here. And one more. Perfect.
Yep. She's a professional.
I'm proud mother.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Would you like to say anything?
I guess.
Why not?
All right. I just want to say thank you, and I never expected any of this. Sorry, kind of lost my voice. And I'm happy to spread awareness for everyone in Orlando. And the best outcome is that Mr. Sterling is still alive and still running. And that's all I could ever ask for. So thank you.
Thank you. Well-deserved award. We'd also like to open up the podium to Mayor Bruin and Deputy Chief Treadwell, if either of you would like to speak.
Well, obviously Windermere couldn't be more proud of you. I can't believe it's been 7 months, Sterling. And just to kind of put things in perspective, Ramon and Julia and I were speaking probably 10 minutes before this event, and he said something that struck me. You know, there are a lot of adults that may not have even done what this high school student did. They just said, it's not my issue, it's not my problem, I don't want to get involved. And here we have an 18-year-old or 17-year-old at the time maybe, jumping into action and saving the life of a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. And just to tell you, to put it in perspective, as was stated, for 8 days he was on life support, and it was just, you know, we were staying in touch and finding out what was going on. And it must have been on the 9th day I stopped at the hospital, and I'll never forget, Debbie, I walk in, and he's sitting up watching TV. And he wants to ask me about the current events that are going on, and I come home and I said to my wife, it's a miracle, and it's all because of you. And I think that's a great, great education that I asked her, how did she know what to do? In 10th grade, she went to a life-saving class, and just to show how that pays off, it pays off in dividends beyond belief. In this case, a life. So Windermere had the honor of honoring Julia about a month after it happened. We actually named it Julia Strube Day. We gave her the Chief's Award to the police. So Windermere is just really, really happy to see this organization recognize her as well. So it is our honor. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And Officer Rodriguez is now Deputy Rodriguez, and he's working for the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. So he couldn't be here today. He has about 4 weeks of intense training before he goes out on the streets. But I think this is exciting, a resident of Windermere receiving this award, but even more so, a 17-year-old resident. If you think about that, I have 2 teen daughters. And just earlier this morning, we were at Windermere Elementary School with the graduates of the MAGIC program, the Mentoring, Advising, Guiding, and Instructing Children. It's a 10-week curriculum where we teach the children, basically, it's all about making good choices, doing the right things in life, being a good person, being compassionate, looking out for someone other than ourselves. So I just wanted to say thank you again. I know we had our ceremony in the town. But I'm very thankful for our residents, the Strube family, because you have done an outstanding job in raising your, I even want to say daughters, because her sister's back there. And I can tell, you can tell these young ladies are good individuals. So we're excited to see what you guys are going to do with your futures. I tell my daughters every day, it's not about you. It's about what we can give back to society. And you're doing that. You're well on the way because just this one event. You know, I believe God put you two together for some reason. At that moment in time, you could have left your house 10 minutes earlier, 10 minutes later. But your paths crossed, and because of that, a lot of good things have happened. So I just want to say congratulations again. Chief Ogden couldn't be here. He's at another event, but he wanted me to wish you congratulations again and good luck with your future.
Now, before we conclude, I do want to add that this was the first time that we have given this award to a young adult, so you are our first. So it's great that we're able to do that. Our past recipients have been officers doing something outside of their realm, school crossing guards, but this is very unique for us. And we're glad that Miss Mary could bring that to our attention and we could award this to you today.